the rest of the UK. So that's how. Once you have the esoteric punch, go ahead and power it up with crystals. Secondly, so learn 5 animals Qigong, power it up with crystals. All of this stuff is also state dependent. This they don't tell you. This nobody tells you. David Snyder said that power poses are the most important things that you'll ever have. Just going with one of the movement sets, the Dragon and Tiger Qigong movement sets are meant to cleanse you of emotional baggage, right? And if you can't feel good for no fucking reason, you're in deep shit. So, go ahead, get to. Oh yeah, the other thing I wanted to say at the beginning was that to me, I don't feel like I have any choice but to amplify positives, because that's where your odds in healing are and current day survival, emotional survival. And it's also way more fun than just targeting this Qigong towards negatives. Like, you're never gonna heal from everything that you've been through. So you might be able to create more positives. Like, this is one of the major reasons why people are just skeptical of the esoteric healer space, because it's so out of the norm of the culture, and most healers just have no fucking clue what they're saying or doing. They think they do. And I started off from the point where I was doing all this weird stuff, didn't really know what I was doing, and so I've basically just kept on pragmatizing and narrowing down until I actually know quite a bit of what I'm doing, at least with the generalized stuff, which is way reach the most people anyway. And I am very powerful in it. So I only recommend going and getting the best memories that you have and amplifying the positivity of those. I've been doing that again for the past 6 hours, and it's worked very well. It could send you to tears of joy. Like, I actually mattered to that person. I actually mattered as a human being to that person. And that's way better. The other reason why you apply esoterics to this stuff is so that life guides you towards either experiencing a similar thing again, or a different thing that you didn't realize you actually really wanted. Like, again, like another point of the esoteric space is guidance. Like, it's all emotional guidance. It's an information system. That's basically the majority of the point of the esoteric space. Is if you're only supposed, according to Michael Wynn, to get 10% physical power off of the esoteric space, it's this information esoterics are just this information storage system and guidance system to where, like, all of your emotions of everything you've ever experienced just get put into this system, and you use the energy world and esoteric work in order to deal with them and put you on different paths and determine your trajectory towards your own life. So you've got the positive memory to work with. I have this. I have these two main photos from about a week or two ago, where I had one of the best experiences that I've had on the beach, because you just don't get much of them. Surprisingly, like living by the seaside, you don't really get that much experiences with tourists and almost like if you make an agreement to meet a person, like here I've been throwing 2 boomerangs at once here and catching them like 5-10% of the time. It's really hard to catch, to throw a catch 2 consecutive boomerangs at once. So people, like, really, no matter how much you inspire tourists around here, it's so damn cringy. For some reason, people manage to hide in a place where you think you couldn't really hide yourself, and they wouldn't have any reason to. Like I've been throwing 2 boomerangs at once over here. Some people got heavily inspired and loved listening to what I said about increasing your physical energy and power here. And I came forwards and back once, twice, 3 times to basically refuel, rest, and then I asked them if they wanted to play with 1 boomerang with me, as I'd expend a lot of my power, and they said yeah. So I go back and I go back to my home, get a boomerang, come back, and they're gone. And one of the people who talked to me said that they've gone to the shop, so they'll be back soon, and I'll send them over your way. And what a bunch of koi-fish, what a bunch of idiots. So, once you've sensitized yourself to, say, the dragon and tiger routine, like I am mainly using right now Michael Wynn's Deep Earth. You can use Michael Wynn's Deep Earth Pulse. Like they tell you what it works for. They tell you what the movements work for reducing negatives. We don't want to reduce negatives here. We want to amplify positives, because when you amplify positives, not only do you feel better and perhaps are shown into having situations which amplify those positives more, it's also that if things that you don't realize are there are blocking you from feeling good for no reason about the event, then those things are automatically going to come up in your Qigong work so that you can deal with them. Like when I've been amplifying some of my favorite memories, your hand can get to a certain place. This is called unconscious dominant thoughts. The unconscious dominant thoughts are the things that are determining your life without you realizing it. That they're the things that your system has like that you don't realize are there for reasons why you live the way that you're living right now. But when your hands reach a certain point in the energy movements, it can be like, ow. And so if there's like an aggravation up there, then you literally just send that energy into a punch to punch it out, and then it's like, oh, relief, and go back to amplifying the positive memory, for which there's another thing that Don't Believe This Esoteric Space teaches you too, is that at least a lot of the time, like you can fully use, say, Desert Rose Endurance Crystal and the clear quartz, like a transparent clear quartz, to just like literally just breathe it into your lungs. So get the basic organ Qigong down, because you're probably gonna need it. At least sensitize yourself to your lungs, and then as second, third priorities, lungs, heart, liver, spleen, at least if you're like me, so dragon, snake, double monkey, because I prefer using the physical language of this culture to put pragmatics to the esoteric way of saying these movements. Like dragon means lungs, tiger means liver, snake means spleen, monkey probably your kidneys, although may not be. Like dragon and tiger piss heaven and earth. That just means you're cleaning your lungs and your liver out, cleaning your sensory organs out of emotional baggage. If you apply it to the negative side, well, let's go to the positive side. You're making the emotion stored in your lungs and your liver feel better for the positive memory, and simultaneously clearing baggage out that prevents you from feeling as good as you can about those memories themselves. And you are applying those energies to the energy system above your head, so good for clearing, good for spinning that thought chakra in the right way, and same for underneath you around your leg level. Very useful if you feel stuck and in all the negative soup stuff of today's time. You go for the basic organ Qigong first, a lot of the time. If you're emotionally human, which I'm just now becoming emotionally human and gaining meaning back into my life because I pragmatize this stuff. It makes me cringe so much how people don't pragmatize this stuff. And then when you become useful in this stuff, this culture's so hopeless that almost no one actually applies what you say. Unless perhaps you're I'm not going into that rant. I'm not going into the rant. Then again, I mostly, like most of the people around here, are old shitbags. Technically speaking. Old junk food bags. Old mediocre people. Like, if you're over the age of 30, then your brain is just not as malleable, and at least if you're not as if you're not as addicted, not as intoxicated, your brain is more open. And while younger people, like around 20 years old, like my age, are just pure physically speaking, they're able to learn more things and be open to more things. They're not as stuck. So you learn the basic stuff first. Like, yesterday when I was doing stand-ups, I kept on breathing my desert rose, the end of my desert rose, and my semi-transparent, like translucent clear quartz into my lung auras to give me those breaths of relief and fresh air from passive stresses. That's partially what it's meant for. That's a bit of an edge over a cigarette, although I don't smoke, and not really addicted to really anything else, because I figured out universal solutions to make it so that you're actually quite forced out of the addictions very satisfyingly. Like, you couldn't care less. And you know how toxic they are, especially if people are human. Now, like the ideal would be to say go from basic lung breathing the energy of the crystals into your lungs. To then you just go into the basic Qigong movements that just waving your hands around your aura in a like that. So for my left lung, just breathe the desert rose in, and then I automatically just go like that, or go like that, clearing, cleansing the biofield out. And the more power you have with crystals, and the more powerful the emotion that you apply to it, the faster you'll progress through it. I don't want to be spending 10 minutes, half an hour just waving my arms like that. I want to get the meaning faster. So breathe in the desert rose, and then carry the energy into basic dragon tiger movement, for example. I get worried. And then carry it into the basic snake Qigong movement, which is designed to deal with worry through your spleen. Here's another really important part that they don't tell you regarding power pose emotions. If you have trained and customized your power poses to you, and if you buy into that love is the best emotion to have, which I don't believe, because I believe that you have a range of peak states which are the most important to you, not just love. Though there's basic heart gestures. Just if you can do a heart gesture, if you can do one of those heart gestures strongly for a positive event, like you felt so deeply loved and moved by that event, use a heart pose with the crystals for that memory, and that you're going to generate that those emotions, those feelings are going to generate an energy ball of how you think about that memory now that you've created via will, and you can directly put that energy into these movements so that you can clean the feelings out and amplify them. If you feel monotonous, it's not very useful to just feel monotonous and then go into these Qigong movements, because that's one of the biggest so what's. So what, you've done an hour of Qigong, you've just worked with really no feelings in your system because you feel neutral. Really what, you want to reduce pressure? Something just made you monotonous, sitting down all day, so you want to reduce the pressure at first so that you have an increased ability to actually feel emotions for something like that positive memory, and then amplify it, make it a lot better. My biggest aim for all this, aside from emotional survival, because I don't want to survive, I want to thrive. I want to be a winner, I want to be a champion, like I luckily already am. Then the biggest aim to me of all of this is to trigger a cascade of intense positivity through a lot of memories, so that when for some odd reason somewhere in my life I walk around and this memory from my past is affecting this, this memory from my past is affecting how I touch this rail, feel good about this rail. I need a better example, don't I? So if I made this person's day over here by the seaside, then